that I had and what I learned from it. So I was out a little while ago and I had gone to a bar with a guy that I was dating, and we were just going out for some drinks. This was kind of in the earlier stages of us getting to know each other, so there definitely were still things about his personality that I kind of was surprised by, and some things that I didn't really know how he would specifically handle certain situations, and kind of all of that kind of stuff. So just to kind of preface that little part of it. But so anyways, the night went on and we were having a really good night, and we were sitting at this little table and we were watching the game and stuff, and we were talking and whatever. We were kind of all like snuggled up really close, and this girl walks by and she stops at her table and says, "Hey, I just have to tell you that you guys are such a beautiful couple." I thought it was so sweet of her, and we kind of started talking, and then she invited her boyfriend over to our table and we all started like hanging out and stuff. And it turns out that I actually had a lot in common with her. She had just moved here, so I really wanted to talk to her and get to know her and kind of see what she was all about. She was telling me about being a makeup artist and all this stuff, and it was really fun to meet like another like young couple out that just were really down to earth but really fun at the same time. And overall the night was just going really well. So a little on later into the night, I started to notice that the girl that we had met and her boyfriend were kind of arguing back and forth, and ended up they got into kind of a big fight. I'm not really sure what it was about. I think it was about something that had happened like prior to even meeting us out. I think they had been in kind of some sort of conversation or something, and I think that might have even been what kind of, I guess, subconsciously made her come over to us, looking as we looked happy and very together. Long story short, the guy ended up leaving, and they were kind of in a back and forth about her staying out and him going home, and he was kind of angry at her that she wanted to stay out, but she kind of said, you know, screw it, I'm gonna stay out, I'm gonna have a good time, I'm not gonna let him ruin my Saturday night. And I think every girl has probably been in that scenario where you're arguing with a guy or with your boyfriend or your ex or whatever, and then you kind of get into this like party mode where you want to kind of just let loose and just kind of, you know, feel better when you're in a scenario where you're kind of unhappy or uncomfortable with what's going on. And so she began to drink a lot. And of course, you know, I think everyone can tell when someone is not in that great of shape and when someone has had a little bit too much to drink. As the night kind of rolled on, we went to a few different bars and stuff, and she was still with us. So it was now kind of like a third wheel situation, which I never really care about that kind of thing, but I know some people get a little like frustrated by it or feel uncomfortable or weird about it. And I definitely know the guy that I was with was starting to get a little fed up. I think he was kind of just seeing the night going a little differently than it was, but I was totally fine with it, and I honestly didn't really care if he was not happy with her tagging along because I liked her and I thought we were having a good time. So as the night rolled on, it got more and more clear that she was drinking more and more, and we were getting ready to leave. And as we were standing outside, I was just noticing that all these guys were becoming a lot more like friendly with her, and were kind of touching her and grabbing at her and would try to like invite her home with them and just all of this stuff. And the weird thing was, I felt some sort of connection to her. As a girl, I think it's an instinct to help other girls out and to never want someone to be in a weird, uncomfortable situation. And I would hope that if I was out and maybe I had had too much to drink or whatever, I was alone and someone saw me like this, I would hope someone would help me and someone would step in and make it their business, even if, you know, this was someone that I had just met that night. She wasn't like my best friend or my sister or someone I really closely knew, but still just that natural instinct of being a female and understanding how it can be really uncomfortable to be, you know, being hit on by all these guys that are being very overly just touchy and just not what you want at that moment. Like, I get that. So I ended up actually inviting her to go back with us, and I told her that we could get her a ride home and she could come back with us and we could hang out and, you know, order pizza or whatever. And she was a little hesitant, and I think she didn't want to like ruin our night and stuff, but I was very adamant that I wanted her to come home with us. I did not want her to be standing on this corner waiting for an Uber or a cab ride while all these creepy guys were kind of preying on her and were really taking advantage of the fact that she was intoxicated and she did seem a little kind of uncomfortable being on her own and kind of fending for herself. So we took her home, we got back to the place, and I actually ended up then getting her a ride from our place. I didn't think about it. In theory, it would have made a lot more sense if she just went in the Uber with us and we dropped her off, but that's not what happened. We made it all the way back home. We talked for a little while, we had some food, and then I got her a ride home, and she was really appreciative of it. Actually thanked me in the morning and told me that she was in you know, kind of like an abusive situation with that guy earlier, and she was really glad that, you know, staying out with us kind of helped her realize that she could have fun on her own and she doesn't have to be with him. And while she was with us, I remember she called her ex-boyfriend and he was like screaming on the phone to her, and I could just hear how angry and mad that he was that she had stayed out. And I told her, like, look, like, don't let someone treat you like that. Like, he does not need to be calling you those names. He doesn't need to be screaming at you like you didn't do anything wrong. He left you at the bar. So anyways, it kind of just went into this other thing, and I think my final thoughts on this just are, make it your business. If you happen to be at a music festival or at a frat party or at a bar and you see a girl that's by herself and maybe she's had too much to drink or she just looks uncomfortable and creepy guys are coming up and hitting on her and touching her and taking advantage of the fact that she's alone, get involved and make it your, you know, your business to go up to her and make sure that she knows you're there if she needs someone, or if she needs a ride home, or if she just needs someone else to be with her while she's trying to figure out her night. It's kind of our duty as women to help each other, and especially when you're in a situation of being alone and you just kind of need someone else there with you as well. I do want to also mention that this was definitely kind of the end of any romantic interest with that guy that I was on a date with, because he really did not understand why I wanted to be involved and why I wanted to help this girl that, quote unquote, he said, I didn't even know, you know, it's not my responsibility to help her. She can take care of herself, all this kind of stuff. And that just really upset me, because he saw all these guys talking to her and these guys kind of grabbing at her and stuff, and he said, well, she shouldn't have, you know, had so much to drink that she can't, you know, tell them no if that's what she doesn't want. And I was just kind of really appalled at that point, honestly, because like I said, I think when you are in that scenario by yourself, it can be really uncomfortable and scary. And for him not understanding that, that was something that really disappointed me, because maybe he has never been in that scenario being a man, but I definitely know being a girl, there are certain situations where you do feel threatened like that. And I would hope that someone else kind of viewing this, someone that wants to be, you know, helpful, would actually go ahead and get involved like I did. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think below, and I'll see you later. Bye.